My name is Gene Baker from Marshfield, Missouri. Question is, considering talking about the border down there, and one of the things that concerns me, and I heard a question somewhat similar to this, is, and I want you to think as both of you think as an engineer again, so what is the major problem with securing the border down? My son is a Army National Guard, and before he served 4 deployments as the Missouri Army National Guard. The very first one, he was on the border down in Arizona, watching the border. Why can't we fix the border problem?
You got Mike, go ahead, I'll clean up.
Well, first of all, the securing the border, in a way, that's the standard Republican sort of talking point. We need to secure the border, and it's an easy thing to say, but it's trickier to do than it might appear on the surface, because on certain borders we have cities that sit right on the border, and you have traffic within the city that wants to go back and forth. That's true on the Canadian border, but it's true at various cities in Texas and others. And I've been down to a couple of them looking at that, just specifically trying to find out what do we need to know about the border and everything. And so I'm not saying that we can't secure the border if we have the willpower to do it, but it's not. It's a little more complicated than it might appear on the surface, okay? One of the things that makes it complicated is that people who are smuggling stuff back and forth across the border have contacts inside the border. So the border, whatever you think of it in width, is actually pretty small, just a fence and some people guarding that. But as soon as people get inside, they've got safe houses and things like that. So it is more complicated and more expensive than it might appear. Have we shown a lot of will to do it? No, not particularly. When I'm given this question, I prefer, as you know, my tendency is to say, what's the principle that we're dealing with here? And that's why I kind of stay away from this sort of standard Republican talking point. I believe it's okay to secure the border, but I think there's more to the question. And in my opinion, the principle is that we are a nation of law. Laws are supposed to be designed to apply equally to all people. In other words, the principle of our justice system is that we are all equal before the law. That's what justice is. That's what America's founded on, is that idea. I don't think anybody's challenged the fact that it's okay for us to have laws that regulate immigration. The problem is that we have people that don't want to enforce them. In fact, we have a president that selectively takes to himself the legislative power and just says a whole group of people, we're just not going to actually enforce this. It'd be the equivalent of probably a Republican president saying, I know the price of capital gains and dividends has gone up because the Bush tax cuts expired, but don't worry about it, we just won't enforce it. People would go nuts. Because the president does not have broad legislative authority to do that. And so the first thing we need to do is just a principle of law. We need to enforce our laws, which now the Supreme Court told Arizona that they couldn't even enforce the federal law. And Scalia went crazy on that thing, and he should have, because we should all be helping Arizona to enforce the federal law. So I really think it needs to be looked at as a matter of we're a nation of laws, and we need to do that. And of course, the immigration system is a mess too. You have people that should be able to get into the country. They're maybe on a board of a company. They want to fly in for a day to a board meeting and fly out. There's all kinds of red tape and mess. It needs to be really worked on. But we need to work on it from the point of view of the law.
The question was about securing the border. It's really amazing how lenient, just a blind eye that we turn to the illegal aliens and personnel that come into the United States. I had a niece that went to Mexico to see someone. She's got a 3-day visa, whatever you want to call it, and she was there 5 days. You need to leave. And they told her, you got 24 hours to be out of here, or you're going to go to prison. Mexican prison prisons are not that nice from what I hear, and they take their border and illegal aliens in their country more serious than the United States. That is what's really wrong. The hands that are tied of our law enforcement, our military personnel, and everything. I got friends that work on the border. They've been shot at. They've strung wires up trying to rip their heads off while they're riding a four-wheeler down to check the border. It's not all about drugs. It's just about trying to get over here. We do need to secure the border. I don't think we need to shut it down. We don't need to, build a 20-foot concrete fence, 50 feet in the ground or nothing. We need to make it where we can tell who's in, who's out. Now, we need to make it more accessible both ways. But we need to have it controlled. We do not need to have it wide open where this guy comes in that we have no idea who he is. I'd rather know that we have 50 million people over here. They're working in tomato plants, cucumber plants, whatever, picking them and know who they are, than having a train or underground railroad bringing them in and they become terrorists. They're contaminating our food sources, our water sources, or anything. Maybe I'm taking this to an extreme, but that's where I stand on it. I don't believe we need to just shut it down and say nobody can come in here. We need to know who's coming in, who's going out. Every country that I've been to and everything, which has only been Mexico outside of here in Honduras, which I was deployed here in the military, okay? When I checked in there as a military personnel, I still had to give them my name and everything so they knew who was there. I was only there 36 days. It was 36 days in hell. But, I was there. I was there before we were actually officially there. The government does not do everything by the book the way they tell us to do it by the book. We need to control it, but we don't need to shut it down.